Hey everyone, it is the Calgary Real Estate Show. It is August 11th. We're almost into the dog days of August, right? Don't you feel that way, Jaden?
Yeah, it's definitely like when the weather starts changing like that. We had the fireplace on a little bit today. Like
Oh,
it just yeah, it
Really?
just oh yeah, yeah. So it just you're totally it's the dog days of August for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
They call it the dog days of summer, but in Calgary, July is like a blur with Stampede and
Yeah.
Canada Day, and then people go on holidays. And then August is like, oh, yeah, a little different. How are you feeling, Natalie, about the dog days of August?
I would like a little bit more dog days because we haven't actually had a holiday. So we're leaving this
Yes.
weekend. So be nice.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. Right. Well, let's take a look at the stats. I think we're feeling a little bit of the dog days of August here, a bit of a midsummer slumber, as I like to call it. So for new listings, we had 261, 264 sales, and new listings about the same as it was last week. Solds are down, but we still have basically 100% sale to new listing ratio. Pendings definitely down. Look at the pendings. Well, they're down from last week. The week of the 20th to the 27th was kind of the high in the last 5 weeks. And
Mhm.
we had 113 price reduced, which is definitely down as well. 36 homes back on the market on the detached side. Days on market stuck at 24, which is, again, pretty quick for summer. And
Mhm.
when Natalie shows you what happened last year, we're still way ahead of where we were last year, but I don't want to steal all her thunder. And then active detached, definitely on that creep. If you look back 5 weeks ago, we're almost 200 listings more that are active, not pending in Calgary. And then when you look at the total active, when you break this down a little more, I mean, the increase was largely due to the increase in the detached listings going up. So I think there's still a lot of strong activity in all the other segments as well. Because when we go to the time machine, Natalie,
Time
there you
machine.
go.
Oh, my word,
Yes.
that's small.
Sorry.
Okay. No, that's okay. Pardon me, I'm very blind. Okay, so total sales last year we were at 489. This year we're at 576. So we're still up almost 18%. New listings last year was 734. This year 706. So it's creeping up, down almost 4%. Active listings total last year 5334. This year 3497, I think. So it's up 34, down 34%.
We're going to need Jaden to step in
Yeah,
here.
Can you read these? It's so
The
small.
Calgary Real Estate Show, also known as an eye test.
I
yeah,
test, yes.
absolutely. Yeah. You can
Okay.
tell who the youngest one in the group is because I can tell you that the
Yeah,
pending is down from 846 to 810, and that's down about 4.25%.
Yeah.
And days on market, like you said, Mark, when you compare it to last year, 31 days, which is probably more common for a summer
yeah,
market, down to 24 days, 31.5%.
Still pretty fast. Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, so the story is active listings are still really down compared to last year. And this is week over week, but I think we're seeing this, we saw this in July stats as well, which we went through last week. But yeah, interesting. I guess we'll see what happens. I had somebody make a comment to me, a client of ours, Jaden, of all three of us here, that, new listings seem to not be coming on as hot right now. I'm like, yeah, I'm not surprised. I think if it was me, I would be listing prior to the Labor Day long weekend, and then for sure after Labor Day is I think when we'll see it pick up into our fall market.
Yeah.
Jaden, over to you.
Yeah, and really, there's not a ton of change, just some things around the periphery, zero point zero 0.05 up here and there. Nothing really impactful in terms of, people having to make a big jump. But what I did want to talk about quickly today that, there's a lot of people, we talk about this a lot with, people who bought in 2018, they're renewing into this market in
Yep.
2023. And
Mhm.
one of the things that's really interesting about the renewal market is when you try and do a switch transfer, you have to qualify all over again, right? And so,
Sorry,
um,
say
you,
what does that mean though? A switch transfer.
basically, so like let's say that I'm with lender A over here, and I see that lender B over here actually has maybe what's a better product for me, and I'd like to move my mortgage at the end of my term, penalty free, with no charge, over to lender B. Well, when you're going through that process and moving to lender B, you have to go through a full qualification process.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so if you were qualifying before at 5.25%, which was the qualification rate, and now all of a sudden rates are, maybe on a 2-year fix over 6%. So you're qualifying at over 8%. maybe you don't qualify to move over to lender B anymore. The ratios might not quite work because on top of that, you might have picked up a little bit more consumer debt here and things like that. So what does that mean? That means that lender A has a stranglehold on you, and so they're going to offer what they're going to offer. Generally speaking, in an open market, they would be pretty aggressive in trying to keep you at renewal, but maybe not so much right now. And so one of the things that will very quickly be able to tell you, sorry, because of the way things have changed, we can't move you over to lender B. You maybe have to stay with lender A, but this is lender B's prices, and you definitely should be telling lender B about lender A about what lender B's prices are, and I'm happy to back you up in any way you can to hopefully get the same pricing. So, even if you can't switch, I think there's still big time upside to talking to people outside of the lender you're currently with, just to kind of see what's out there.
Yeah. So aren't lenders legally obligated to renew you at some rate? Is that not correct?
No, they don't have to renew you. They almost always will, because if you have paid on time, never caused them any hassle, the cheapest and best mortgage that they'll ever get from you is when you're renewing. There's no paying a mortgage broker. There's none of the other stuff that goes on around that, right? So it's absolutely the cheapest time for a lender to renew you, and they almost always will, but they don't have to. So it's important that you can maintain a good relationship with your lender going through that process as well. Don't want to push them too far because you do want to make sure that you have that renewal in your back pocket.
All right, cool. Natalie, hit us with, there's the ugly photo. We look forward to it every week.
I know. I almost forgot it. I was in a panic. I was like, it's blank. Okay, so we're talking color forecasting today. This is from Sherwin-Williams and what they're...
Not that photo.
Not that photo, no. Okay, so the first one is palette 1 is blues and greens. So we've seen a lot of trends with like the navy, the jewel tones, all that kind of stuff. But they're saying with the blues and greens, they're going for a softer, almost pastel version of it. This particular color is called Stardew. It's got a bit of a gray undertone in it, but it's still a warmer blue. So it's quite pretty. It's got a bit of ash in it. I don't know what else to say. Palettes 2, reds and purples. They are predicting very bold pinks and reds coming out of this. As you can see, this is called dragon fruit, and it actually does look very similar to dragon fruit. I don't know that I would do this in a lot of spaces, to be honest. It would sort of startle you half the time. So it's good in this situation because it's a little workspace, but I don't know if I'd be putting this in your bedroom. You may never sleep. Number 3 is deeps and darks, palette 3. So it's interesting. They've been talking about like the moodiness. We all know I love a moody color, but it's really going to a richer hue is what they're going for. So it's got a little bit of warmth, and that's something post-COVID everybody really has been desiring. So this one is called sealskin, and it's actually a very, very deep, almost charcoaly brown. I like this. I was thinking about this.
I like it a lot.
Our house color, Mark. Number 4 is delicate tints. So this is the whites, all those kind of things. This one is called Fleur de Sel, and I am butchering that, I'm sure.
Salt flower?
Yeah, flower of salt or something like that. This one is interesting because they also talk about, with whites in particular, you really got to be careful about the amount of light you get in and what direction your house that light is coming from. Say you have a north facing bathroom, for example, if that's what this was, if it's north facing, you want to do something that's either got a pink undertone or a yellow undertone to warm it up a little bit. You don't want to be putting a blue undertone in there because it will completely make it cold. It will be very, very cool. So they're actually talking about just doing like a hint of pastel in your white color. So it just gives it some depth. So that's all I got.
All right. Thank you. All right. So here's some community events. We got a few carried over from last week. So we've got the Lock Zoo. If you like being super frustrated and like solving puzzles, that's where you should go. I won't say anymore. I should really do it, right? And see what happens. I should video the whole thing, and that would be a great YouTube video.
Yeah,
we got the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival, some unbelievable acts at that. If you can still get tickets.
Nick Offerman is going to be there.
Yes, Nick Offerman from one of
Oh,
our
cool.
favorite shows, Parks and Recreation. Sorry, what's the character's name again?
Ron Swanson.
Ron Swanson. Yes, yes. What would Ron do? Wildscapes at the zoo. So it's a summer garden experience with topiaries, or you could just come to our backyard. It's a very similar experience. And then we got the Okotoks Dogs playing Sylvan Lake, and that is tomorrow night, 7:05 down there in the beautiful city of Okotoks. If I was going to that game tomorrow, I would go down early, go down to the river, maybe try and cool off a little bit, then head on over to Siemens Stadium and check out the Okotoks Dogs. And then a really cool thing that we saw on Global News this morning, Natalie, maybe you can speak to this a little bit about the self-guided park tour.
Oh, yeah, that was very cool. So the Parks Department has opened up this, which is sort of funny because we're talking about Ron Swanson. So
yeah.
Anyway, the city has opened up a historic walking tour, and it's an audio tour. So you can just download it off of their site. And what it is all the historic parks in the city, which is really neat. So they were talking about Central Memorial Park, all those. But did you know there's a place called Reader Rock Garden? Did you know about Reader Rock Garden, Jaden?
I've never heard of Reader Rock Garden. No.
It's the biggest hidden gem in the city. So it's right over, it's on the corner, the southeast corner of McLeod Trail and that road that goes into the first entrance into Stampede Park as you're going northbound. And William Reader was he was the parks manager back in like 1900 or something like that. He came. And his house, there's a recreation of his house in this little garden. So you just go in a park and you go up the top of the hill. It's right behind. Is that Union Cemetery, I think, Mark?
Yeah, and I posted a link, so we'll leave it there. But yeah,
cool.
There's very cool, very cool. Posted links, both the YouTube feed and on our business page have the links there, and yeah. I think that's about it, but it's super cool tour, right? There's some really neat things about that Reader Rock Garden that I had no idea about.
It's a hidden gem, I'm telling you. There's a tea house there. Very cool.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, enjoy the rest of your week and weekend, everybody, and we will talk to you in 7 days.
Bye, guys.
Bye.